I'm not lost, but I'm not found. I'm not up, but I'm not down. I love you and I love you and I love you and I love you, and it's so easy. I love you and I love you and I love you and I love you, and it's so hard. But all I'm really sure of is I'm not happy, I'm not sad, particularly down or glad. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not blue, red, black or green, got no favorite thing. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not wrong, but I'm not right. I'm not lazy, but I don't try. I need you and I need you and I need you and I need you, and it's not easy. I need you and I need you and I need you and I need you, and it's not hard. And all I'm really sure of is that I just don't know why. I'm not happy, I'm not sad, particularly down or glad. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not blue, red, black or green, got no favorite thing. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not happy, I'm not sad, particularly down or glad. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not blue, red, black or green, got no favorite thing. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not happy, I'm not sad, particularly down or glad. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not blue, red, black or green, got no favorite thing. I'm somewhere in between.
Hi there, my name's Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. How you doing? Today is Monday, November the 6th. 6th. Welcome to the show. Cheers, everyone. I had a busy weekend. I'll share that with you in a second. And then please let me know if you've got any questions or comments. I had a few people reach out on email about doing the one-to-one sessions. So like I said to them, if it's a really, really short question, just come on the Monday show, just ask here, and then we can all benefit from it. If it's a more in-depth question like, how do I use a piece of gear? Or here's 5 guitars, which one should I buy? Can you tell me the reasons why? Then you can contact me for the one-to-one session. So, yep, thanks for that. And let's say hi to the early risers, and then I'll get into the chat. We've got a new release from Martin Guitar as well. I'd like to talk about that today. See what you think of that. And we'll see how we go. So Nick was first. Nick Johnson. Happy Monday. Looking forward to the show. Good to see you, Nick. Yeah, apologies if I'm a bit tired. I am tired. It's weird. So I did a gig Thursday, gig Friday, 3 gigs on Saturday. So then Sunday I just didn't do anything, and today I didn't really do anything, and I think I'm getting more tired. but I'm glad to be here to do the show today. Curious on your experience with the Fender Mod Shop. I've done 2 guitars through the Mod Shop, so I'm happy to talk about my experience with that. Not in complete detail because eventually there'll be a video about that, but I will give you my quick thoughts on that. Bernard's in Suffolk, and T says hello on the chat. I'll have to catch show on replay. Chelsea Spurs on. What do you think of the new Martin D19? We're going to talk about the D19 today, so come back and watch after Chelsea lose. I mean, I don't know. I know nothing about football. I don't really care for it, but I am going to talk about the D19. So when you come back later, you can see what I think about it. They're making 190 for the 190th anniversary. Yep, and you could also say they're making the D19 again, which is an older model actually. Again, D19, 190, 190th anniversary, blah, 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 right? And if you're watching, if you're a Martin fan, what do you think of that guitar? And have you ordered one? Let me know. Kevin says hi from Southern Indiana. Good to see you, Kevin. And Steve is here. Good to see you, Steve. Well, let's start with this. Let's start with this guitar then. Here we go. This is the D19. So this still blows my mind to this day that there's still guitars that I didn't know existed. You know, I didn't know there was such a thing as a D19. Did you know this? Did you, if you're watching and you're a Martin fan, did you know this? The reason there was a D18, a D21, a D28, mostly to do with the price at the time that they made them. When they released the D18, it was £18 or $18. Sorry, pounds. $18, right? So that's the reason for the naming. And then I guess as you go up the numbers, you get more appointments. You go from mahogany to spruce, right? Things like this. So there was in fact a D19 in the 70s, and it didn't do very well. It wasn't around very long. But they brought it back. They wanted to bring something back for the 190th anniversary. And this is what they've brought back. So I just woke up this morning and saw the video with Chris Martin talking about this. And I have very mixed feelings on this guitar. And I'd like to hear yours too, because otherwise I'm just talking to myself. My first impression of seeing this, I'll tell you the whole story. And do watch that video later tonight about the guitar. Here's my first impression. Bearing in mind I haven't played one and they've just been announced today. Some of this is positive, some of this is a bit of a rant, but that's what we're here for, right? To talk about this stuff. So when I first saw it, here are the pictures. Look, when I first saw this, I thought it looks really nice. Okay, I thought, right, it's mahogany. It's got the gloss, so that's good. I'm not really a fan of the satin Martins. So we've got the gloss again. It's a D19, and it looks nice. The back, it's mahogany. The top looks nice. Then I heard it was Addy top. Okay, nice, because one of the best sounding Martins I ever heard was the CS Outlaw guitar. Those Outlaw Martins that were made in the custom shop years ago were fantastic, and they were also mahogany with an Addy top, but made in the custom shop. Okay, so check out the Outlaw guitar. I might show it to you later on as well. Almost bought one of those a couple of times. Great guitar. You can't beat mahogany with an Adirondack top. I actually have the one guitar I still have left in England is a Goodall, which is an Addy top with mahogany back and sides. I think I bought it around 2005-ish, and it was about £3,000. I think so. I mean, now for a Goodall like that, you're talking about. I mean, I hate talking like that. I hate talking about, well, things were cheaper back then. I hate saying that. It's a stupid thing to say, isn't it? It doesn't make any sense to say that, right? But I will say quickly that the Outlaw, I think, was this or less, and I think was a much better guitar as a custom shop. But I digress. Look, first of all, look, it looks great. It looks really nice. Okay, we've got the streaky ebony. I'm not a fan of that. Yours may or may not have that. So that made me think maybe this is a bit more of a budget model. I thought it was all mahogany based on the look of the top. So I thought, oh, great. This is an all mahogany guitar, a D19 for the anniversary. streaky fretboard, it will be, you know, 3,000 or something. Well, then I saw the price is 4,000. So I thought, well, why is it $4,000? That's a lot of money. I mean, a D18 with a Sitka top is currently about 28, right? So it's quite a big markup there. Well, it turns out this is actually an Addy top. So to go along with what Martin have been doing lately, they've got a pile of Addy which doesn't have a look that they would use on a guitar. So in order to use it on this guitar, what they've done is they've used the old printer again, printed the wood. Now, I think this, I'm talking very candidly here, you have to forgive me, especially when I'm tired, I get even more candid. So, because I'm just kind of like in my little guitar dream world. So, but take all this with a pinch of salt. But I think this printing, I haven't seen it in person, but this printing with what looks like the gloss finish, to me, is a lot better than those satin top guitars that I saw with Rosanna and Lee when they were in town. I don't like the fake aging on the prints, and I don't like even the satin and that. I don't like it. This, I think the gloss, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like there's a gloss on there. So that gloss on the printed top, I think looks really good. I still don't love the idea of it, because at the end of the day, you're getting wood they're saying is not attractive, and they're going to print onto it. It all alludes to being a bit fake in a way, right? It is fake. It's not the natural wood. But then for someone like me that is so fussy about how the wood looks, it's a good idea when it looks good. And again, I haven't seen it in person. But what you got to remember with these guitars is they'll all look, or the tops of them will all look exactly the same, because they're all printed with the same print. Now, there is a positive there. I will say that, because I am, you know, I'm very into the look and the wood grain. So the fact they're all going to look exactly the same is a positive. Then the necks won't look the same. They'll all have the different streaking. Some will have no streaking. Some will have streaking. So at that point, it's the neck that will determine how different your guitar looks. But I think in this case, yeah, I'm completely split down the middle. I don't like the idea there's a $4,000 guitar with a printed top. But I do like the fact you're getting a uniform top, if it looks nicer than the ones I've seen so far. If it looks as nice as it does in this photograph, I think that's okay. The other thing that's just annoying me lately is yes, another limited edition. Now, some guitars should be limited. It's 190 years, 190 guitars. I guess it makes sense. Also, obviously, it's based on how much wood they have. They've got this Addy they're using up, so I guess they've got enough to make about 190 guitars. I mean, it's all business stuff, right? So I'm just tired every week now. The guitars that are coming out are limited edition. It's just forcing that mentality. You've got to be so careful that I've fallen for so many times. Forcing that mentality of I must buy it because there's only 190. Now, if you want it, fine, that's fair enough, right? I get that. The thing I have the problem with is that mentality of half the people buying this guitar to resell it or to sell it in the future, not buying it to play it. Now, I can't really talk. I've done, I bought guitars and ended up not playing them because then I just have too many guitars and haven't played them. That does happen. And I'm not even going to say you shouldn't buy this to resell it. Who am I to say that? You can do what you want with something once you've bought. Once you buy something, you can do what you want with it, right? The person doesn't have to buy it. But I just feel this trend lately of everything is limited. Everything is being bought in order to resell it. I do wish we get back to the days of just having guitars released where people buy them and play them. But then again, that isn't really the world now, is it? I mean, look at me right now. I'm talking about the guitar. I'm not playing my guitar. So I am being a hypocrite. But I just feel that now every guitar has to be limited edition. There has to be some other reason why you're going to buy it rather than just the fact it's a good guitar. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the world we live in now. Maybe we all have too many guitars and we have to have that reason. I don't know. But I do find it exhausting. And I also find it incredibly tempting. And I'm not going to buy one of these, but I think it's a danger for people to think, oh, there's only 190. I have to pre-order one right now. That's the mentality that gets you with that. So, but you know, it is a good guitar. You could buy a D18 and save yourself 1,200, but you wouldn't have the Addy top. The question then is, do you like the look of that top? Is that, you know, would you rather have the natural top, or do you like the look of that? That's the question, right? Let me just check the other specs here. So it is mahogany back and sides. The funny thing is, when these were released in the 70s, they didn't sell very well. That makes me laugh. But that was a slightly different guitar. And like I said earlier, mahogany and Adirondack spruce are a very nice combination. They're very hard to beat, in my experience. They're calling that top stained Adirondack. Well, I don't think that's right. I think it's printed. And when I say printed, I don't mean printed with your laser printer at home. I mean actually, you know, properly printed. Forward shifted X bracing, genuine mahogany back and sides. Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? Mahogany neck, okay. Doesn't say genuine mahogany neck, though. In a modified low oval profile, nice. Yeah. Oh, the fingerboard is actually Guatemalan rosewood. But again, I'm sure what they're doing is using up pieces of the Guatemalan they've got that fit that size. So it's not ebony, it's a rosewood fingerboard. You know, I do like it. I will say it. I like the specs. I like the look. And maybe the fact that it's limited will end up being a positive for you if you buy one. But I also don't like that the guitar's being printed, and don't like that the guitar's a limited edition. I can with this guitar, with some guitars, I have more of a side. With this guitar, I'm completely split down the middle. The specs are great, the look is great, it's a collectible. And on the other side, they're printing wood, they're using wood, leftover wood, they're limiting it, making it more desirable for us to spend our money. This guitar is splitting me down the middle. With many guitars, I can be a bit more on one side or the other. But this one is, it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So let me know if you're getting one. I am not getting one. I've still decided to sell most of the guitar, so I won't be buying one. But I do think it's cool. And if they're gonna print tops again, if they're gonna print the tops, I should say, this is good. When it looks like that and it's that gloss on it, that's a nice printed top. I wouldn't be against that. But you've got to remember, it's still a printed top. And many people do like the natural wood. So that's what I've got on that guitar. Let me know if you agree with me or not, please. Okay. So Nick, I'll come back to your question on the mod shop. Oh no, let me do it now, because otherwise I'll forget. Let me do it right now. I've had two guitars from the mod shop. One I did for someone else, and then the other one I have here. It's good, but it's risky in that, again, so many guitars now. Here's my thing with it. So many guitars now are heavy. So many guitars now don't look very good to me. And when you do something like a mod shop order, what the mod shop is basically they take parts from the warehouse and they put them together for you. So you get a certain amount of customization, but not like a custom shop guitar. So there's like a few necks you can choose from, a few colors, several colors you can choose from, a few body shapes, and you can put them together. But you can't say, well, I want stainless steel frets. You can't say I want a sculpted heel, right? So there's a luck of the draw involved, and the price ends up being around the same price as an American standard guitar anyway. So I'm hesitant to recommend it. It worked out for me because I wanted a hardtail Strat, and there's not really a way to get a hardtail Strat from Fender without spending a lot of money on a custom shop. So that worked out for me, but I got incredibly lucky. I got a guitar that was light and looked nice. All right. What would happen if you got a super heavy guitar that didn't look nice? Now, that might not matter to you. That matters to me. Maybe it doesn't matter to you. So that's fine. Construction, excellent. Setup on my guitar, fantastic. I don't feel the need to have it set up again. Yeah, very, very, very happy. So let me rephrase what I said. I do recommend it. But if you're into how the guitar looks specifically and the weight of it specifically, be cautious because you might end up getting something that you don't like and you can't send it back. So that's the answer to that. P Ninja, good. I was trying not to say poo, but I guess by saying P, it's the same thing, really, isn't it, poo? So I'll just say Poo Ninja. Poo Ninja, happy daylight losing time. Yep. We gained an hour. We lost our sanity. Rosanna, good evening. Aaron and everyone in the chat. Happy Monday. Everyone have a lovely weekend. Yes. What did you guys do? Did you fight that cat of yours, that new cat? Or should I say, did it fight with you? I saw the pictures of it looking ferocious. Lee says, good evening. A cheaper Martin doesn't make sense to me. If you're getting a Martin, save up and go all out. Well, that isn't a cheaper Martin. That is, by all means, a kind of standard series custom shop. It's kind of in between the standard series and the custom shop, right? In fact, I mean, it probably is more like a custom shop, really. But a few years ago, you'd have got the actual Addy top without the print, but then you might like the look of the printing. So this is all very personal. All right. Yeah. So Paul says it's interesting the description at the top. It says ebony fingerboard, but down below it says rosewood. Now the thing is, I've noticed lately that Sweetwater do get specs wrong from time to time, and maybe not their fault. Maybe they're provided early specs for the listings and they're not always accurate. I'm not sure. And think of how many guitars are listed on their website. So one tip I'll give you is I'm doing it myself right now. Always go to the manufacturer's site if you're looking to buy one of these things, right? Because they will obviously have, well, hopefully they will have the most up-to-date information. So if we jump over to Martin right now, if we find that guitar on here, let's see how easy it is to find. Here, our first one, good. So this is the place to look, I would say. So, Addy Spruce, genuine mahogany. Is the neck genuine mahogany? No, see? Here it says the neck is select hardwood. Select hardwood means it could be anything. That's why they call it select hardwood. So that's a bit disappointing. And the fingerboard is Guatemalan rosewood. So it isn't ebony at all. It's Guatemalan rosewood, which I think is pretty cool actually. I like that. And signed by CF Martin, which I like. Everything else looks great, doesn't it? 1 3/4 inch nut. I was just looking for the neck. Yeah, dovetail neck joint. It's great. It's a really tough one. The specs are awesome. I think the look is really nice. It is a better guitar than what you had in the 70s. Apparently, they weren't like this. I think they weren't Addy topped, right? This is Addy topped and colored, printed to look like it's all rosewood. All mahogany. So when you first see this, you think, oh, it's an all mahogany guitar. That's cool, but it's not. It's Addy that looks like that looks like mahogany. This is definitely the best use of that printer they've had so far. I think it's the coolest and best use of it. And $1,200 more than the standard D28. Well, I guess the Addy does incur an upcharge. It is limited edition. I think it's a bit too much. I would have rather seen it at $3,500. I would rather have seen 3,500 and they would have made more of them than only 190. But that's just me. The fact that are only 190, although I said I don't like this limited stuff, it does add to the resale value. And if you resell it in 20 years' time, it will add to the resale value, of course. So I think it's cool. I think if it sounds as good as it looks, I think it's a good guitar. Actually, it's actually grown on me since I've been talking about it, which is always a good sign. And then the bridge is also Guatemalan rosewood. So, you know, the downside of running out of wood and having these pieces of wood around is that everything's expensive and they don't know what to do with them. But using these premium woods on the fretboard and the bridge and the top, and they did. I'm looking at that top again. They nailed it with the top. It looks awesome, and the way it matches with the back and sides is really great. So I actually think the choice of materials on this one is excellent. Yeah, I didn't realize it was Guatemalan bridge and fretboard, and the Addy top, which then again, if they hadn't if they hadn't have printed it as well as that, and hadn't put gloss on it, I would think it was awful. But the way they printed it so well, and the way they've put the gloss on there, I think it looks great. I really do, and it looks unique and still classic. So I've kind of changed my mind since I've been talking about it. I actually think it's great. And if you could find, there's certain dealers in the USA where you don't pay the tax, and they may give you 10% off. One place I still like to shop at is Pitbull Audio. They're very good. So if they did something like that, that should be I think it's pretty fair. I think it's pretty fair. Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, let me stop looking at it because I want to buy one now. Okay, so I'm more interested in the viewers like Martin Guitars. Like, are you buying one of those, and why? I'd like to know why. Nick says, thanks, Aaron. That's been my main problem finding a new Fender guitar I love is how heavy they are. Yes, let's just look at that now because I haven't got any more questions at the moment. So let me just jump over there. I often do this on the Sweetwater site because what I like about Sweetwater the most actually is that they show the, well, what I like about them the most is I have the, no, what I like about them the most is that they have the weight of the guitars, right? So if you go to Fender Stratocaster, oh, let's do custom shop just for the sake of it. I like to do in stock because what's the point of seeing stuff that isn't in stock? Sometimes it says the lightest guitar, sometimes it doesn't, which is weird, but I'm going to do the high price to the low price, right? And I would go through them. I'm really not into relics anymore. I'm so glad they didn't print a relic finish onto that Martin. I'm glad they printed the actual wood onto it and not the relic look. So if we come down here, look, here's a Closet Classic. So you click on that. Now, I like this. You see 7.4 and 7.10. So you can see the weight of the guitar. So many guitars now are over £8. No, I mean, I've got a couple that are over £8. I can live with it, but it's not my preference at all. It's just not my choice. I love these guitars, but I don't like the relicking. If these weren't relicked, what can you do? Hey, what can you do? And then these ones are not relicked, but I don't like the color of them. But yeah, basically, if you find one that you like, look, here's a hardtail, right? That's what I was saying. My hardtail Strat was about 1,800. The custom shop is $5,000. We can get a discount, I'm sure, but you see, look, £7. I love that. I love that blue. I love the hardtail. I have the hardtail guitar. Hardtail means no tremolo system, so the strings go straight through the body like a Telecaster, in case you don't play electric. But I don't like the relicking, you know? Look at that. It's ugly. If that wasn't relic, that'd be cool as heck. But it is relic, so there you go. Yeah, so that would be my fear. And the weights just vary so much. I wish you could pay more to the mod shop to have a light guitar. Like if you pay $200 more, you get guaranteed a guitar that's under £7.5. That'd be nice. But they don't do that as far as I know. Notice Alto are doing an S1 copy with phantom power and app, unlikely to be Bose quality. I tried to look at it. I tried to look at the app, and there's no demo mode, so I couldn't check it out. It's called the Alto Busker. There's just another one of these speakers out every week now because the market is so hot for them, right? That's why they sell. What's interesting with this one is the price. Currently on sale at $350. That's a heck of a cheap price for one of these speakers. It does have a very similar kind of feature set to something like the Bose and the other ones. It does have app control, but who knows what that app is like. It looks like an S1 Pro, doesn't it? And I want to say this on the show because I learned this fairly recently. When you see something, when you see a product like this and you think, well, this is a rip-off of another product, and it actually isn't. It's got a different handle. It's got a slightly different enclosure. But sometimes you'll see a product and you'll think, they've just ripped off that other product. What actually happens is, my understanding is that when you design a product and you go to China to have it built, right? Because most of these are, well, they're all made in China, right? You go there and they source the parts because they already have parts. So you'll say, right, I need an amplifier for this speaker. So they'll have an amplifier. So the chances are a lot of these speakers have the same amplifier in them, but the DSP will cause them to react differently as well as the speaker they use, etc. So it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, and it's the way that they set it up mechanically and digitally to run and how efficient they can get it to be. So just worth bearing in mind. But the price is great. It's incredibly light. But, the S1 Pro isn't loud enough for all my shows, and this won't be either, I'm pretty sure. Actually, on battery power, this is only 50 watts, which is horrible. On mains power, it's 200 watts. But what does that really mean in the real world? Because how efficient is their DSP? So I hate to be a snob, but I look at that price and just think there's no way this is going to be any good. $350 with all that stuff on the app, there's just no way this is going to work. But it is very light. I wouldn't be against trying one because sometimes I am wrong with that mentality. But for me, at the moment, my decision at the moment is that the S1 Pro Plus is just a really cool, fun, clean-looking unit with the wireless systems and everything. And the eVerse 8 is the loudest. And I would still rather just have a real PA system, honestly. None of these things will ever replace a real high-quality PA system. But the convenience can be good. And I actually used the eVerse on Saturday, and the convenience was important, the battery power and everything. So, yeah. Mixed feelings about the Alto Busker. I think the name is the name is awful. Look, it's not the Alto Busker, it's the Alto Professional. I'm a professional busker. Now, actually, some professional buskers make a lot of money, so I shouldn't laugh at that. Some buskers make more money than people in wedding bands, I'm sure. You got a bigger range of clientele walking by. I used to busk. I used to really enjoy it. I kind of miss it, actually. But calling an amp the busker, I don't know. For me, it's got a bit of a negative connotation somehow. But then again, eVerse 8, what does that mean? S1 Pro Plus. I don't know, I guess it's hard to think of a name for a battery-powered speaker. JBL Eon Compact. What's Eon? What is all this stuff? So at least it's clear what it is, right? It's for busking. But I read somewhere that when you run it off without the power cord attached, it's only 50 watts, which is really that's not going to be powerful enough for anything. Because the Bose at 100 is the Bose 120 or was it less? Actually, maybe the Bose is only 60 or 80. I'm not sure, but 50 watts won't be very powerful. That's for sure. So I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe the Bose is 50 watts, and this is actually the same because the peak decibels are rated at the same. I think 104 dB, but again, 104 dB isn't that great. So I don't know. And I'm not gonna write it off. Like you said, it's got the 48 phantom power that the Bose doesn't. It's got the app. It's got the 200 watts. There we go. Oh no, sorry, 200 watts in standard mode, 50 watts in eco mode. So it will run at 200 watts on the battery, but it's only 50 watts in economy mode. Maybe that's like if you're just using it at a small house party for background music or something. That's fair enough. And then you get much longer battery life. That's fair enough. Yeah, look, 24 hour. I mean, actually, that's good. So, I've just done it again. Now I want to try one. This is the worst. This is the worst live stream I've ever done. I've gone from that thing sucks to like, hang on, it's got phantom power. The Bose doesn't. It's half the price. It's got a 24-hour battery life on economy mode. It's 200 watts in regular mode, which is more than the Bose. It only weighs 12 pounds. Huh. Maybe I was wrong about this thing. It's got Bluetooth. But, okay, I actually think it's pretty cool. But I guess the thing I'm trying to say is, for me and the places I play at, the Bose and the Bose S1 Pro Plus and this are not going to be loud enough. I need something like the Everse, which is like 500 watts, personally. And even then, I'd much rather have my QSC K8.2, which is 2000 watts. It just sounds better. But the battery power and convenience makes the Everse very useful. I love the wireless and everything built, the cool features built into the Bose. That makes it a really cool product. So where does this sit? Would this sit in between the Bose and the Everse? Maybe it would. Maybe it would. So if you're looking to spend under $400 and you play small to medium sized rooms, then you should probably get one of these with the return policy and let me know what you think of it. But for what I'm doing right now, the Bose and the Everse are a nice combination. All right. Dave says Everse all the way. But Dave, I bet you tell me if I'm wrong. You own the Everse, right? Because we have to acknowledge that when people are in Facebook groups talking about which is the best, it's always the one that they own, of course. Oh, I got some more. Rafa says, "What's up? I forgot my tablet Saturday for my gig, so I used my phone on the smaller stand that goes on the mic stand." Yeah, it's better. It's better because it doesn't block you so much. Yeah, strats have gotten heavier. It's just the way it is, right? The wood's running out. They can't just throw away heavy wood. They have to use it to make a guitar. It's fair enough. Charlie, how you doing, Charlie? Everse 8 is still the best. No, I hate that. I hate when people ask what's the best. I was just on a Facebook. I'm trying to get off all the. Honestly, I'm trying to get off all the. I'm not saying this in an arrogant kind of way. I'm trying to get off the forums and the Facebook pages because I feel like this has happened to me recently. I feel like this is my platform, and it kind of goes with what I was saying earlier about if like I've had people call me up for these paid phone calls now to give them advice on the gear. Like, I don't want to do that and then answer someone's advice on email privately. It's not fair. I mean, it's not fair on me for my time. It's not fair on the person that just paid me to have that phone call, right? And I feel the same lately about the Facebook group thing and the forums. Like, a lot of those forums are selling advertising. They're a platform, and you're contributing to that platform. So I want to make this my platform because I already have it, right? I've spent a lot of time building this up. So I'm trying not to go on, but I still go on occasionally, and I messed up today because I went and answered the question. Someone said, actually, no, I answered it in this way, which I'm happy about. They said, what is the best? What's better, the S1 Pro Plus or the Everse 8? And I said, there's no answer to that question. It's like when I come on here and say, someone says, what pickup should I get for the acoustic guitar? And I say, well, I need to know where you play, when you play, what you play, how often you play, what sound you're looking for, what sounds you're influenced by. You can't just say the Everse 8 is the best or the S1 Pro is the best. Like, best for what? That's the problem. Now, if you rephrase that and said, is the Everse 8 still the best? Sorry, I just did it. If you rephrase that and say, is the Everse 8 still the loudest speaker for its size and weight? Yes, and that's a very important part of this equation for many people, including myself. So yes, that's really cool. That's great. However, is it the best battery speaker? It's certainly up there in my top 3, but I can't say it's the best because when you have those smaller rooms and that Bose wireless system is working, when you have the wireless units, I should say, it doesn't come with them. There's something amazing about that. Having that clean stage, I think it's an awesome thing. There's certain places I'm playing lately where you need that. You might play in bars and think, well, what's he talking about? Who cares if there's cables the bar's full of cables everywhere. Yes, but when you do certain venues like wedding receptions, hotel lobbies, wineries, these sort of really formal places where they want things to look a certain way. When you have that Bose on the floor behind you with the wireless systems and it's a completely clean stage, that is the best at that point. But when you go into the noisy sports bar and you can't hear yourself, the Everse is the best because it's louder. So that's it. And then there's a few features. That's why I said I want to say to that person on Facebook, what do you need? Because I just recently realized that I knew the Bose doesn't have phantom power and the Everse does, but the Bose cannot power a TC Helicon pedal and the Everse, I believe, can. I'm still investigating that, but I think it can. And actually the JBL can as well. So there you go. If you need phantom power, I'm going to push you towards the Everse or this new Busker thing. If you don't need phantom power and you need a very clean stage and want to do live streaming from it and things like that, I'm going to push you towards the Bose. If you want the absolute lightest device, I'm going to push you towards the Bose or the Busker, because the Everse is a bit heavier. That might not matter to you, it might matter to you. And I'm still always going to push people towards a real PA system, like a full-on professional, dedicated speaker, if they can justify it. Yeah, that's. I think. Did you ask this recently? I get this question all the time on here. No, Mark. Hang on. Right, you asked for it, Mark. You asked for it. No, it's not the best. It depends on the application. Okay, I'm done. So, I get this question a lot because the Yamaha FG5 is probably one of the best value acoustic guitars on the market. And the pickup is also a very solid pickup system. I won't say it's my favorite, but it's certainly not my least favorite. And it's certainly one of the pickups in the last few years that's impressed me a lot. So it's definitely up there. So it presents this dilemma that this is the reason I get this question so often. Would you buy the guitar without the pickup or with the pickup? And if you get it without the pickup, then would you add a pickup yourself like an Anthem? Well, I can answer this very easily. If you're not going to plug the guitar in ever, if you only play acoustic at home and never go out and play gigs or never plug in, no interest in plugging in, or even if you're just thinking I might plug in the future one day, then just get the acoustic version. It's cheaper. It will age better, of course. There's no electronics in there. Just get that one. If you're doing shows, if you're doing open mic once a month or so, get the one with the pickup. Because the Anthem is great, and they're kind of different systems. The same thing as I was just saying, they're different systems. They're not the same. Okay? And please, Paul, please don't be like Mark and maybe go on one of those rants again. They're different systems. There's things I like about the Anthem. The main reason I like the Anthem is that when you apply it to a guitar with no system, it works very well. But you are still modifying the saddle and adding stuff to the guitar. Yes, the Yamaha does have those drilled holes and the cutouts and things. So it's not like you can remove it as easily as the Anthem, but I think it's more of a solid system. I like it. So if it was me, I would get the one with the pickup if I was going to be plugging it in. Oh, I just lost my chat. Hang on. Yeah, if I was going to be plugging the guitar in ever, I'd get the one with electronics. They're very, very impressive and stable electronics. It's very cool. If you're not going to be plugging in realistically, then don't get them. You'll get a bit of a lighter guitar, maybe a bit more resonance, no holes cut in the guitar. I would do that. But yeah, it's a very strong system. Actually, now I think about it, comparing that to the Anthem, Some people might prefer the Anthem. The Anthem is cool. You can sort of completely remove it later on if you want to upgrade it to something else or change it to something else, I should say. But there's something nice about having the built-in controls on the side of the Yamaha. It's very well done. It sounds very good. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. That's my answer. If you're going to plug in at least once a month, get the one with the pickup. If you're not going to plug in ever, then don't get the one with the pickup, because it's very hard to say. And then if you get the one with no pickup, then in 3 years' time you become a full-time gigging musician. You can add the Anthem, yes, and it will sound or the new pickup at the time, and it will sound very good. But the red labels, for me, I've said it before, they're the best all around stage guitars at the moment. They sound great unplugged. They sound great plugged in, and not many guitars can say that. You know, like I would say that about the Maitons. They sound awesome unplugged. They sound awesome plugged in. Cole Clark sound good unplugged and great plugged in, awesome plugged in. The Yamahas sound excellent unplugged and excellent plugged in. So that's why I'd go for the one with the pickup if you're going to use it. Kevin says, I'll throw this in the mix. If you like your current PA system, power banks are coming down in price. Yeah, totally. And I would definitely go that route. The thing is, a QSC 8.2 is still £27 plus the weight of the power bank, plus all the cabling and carrying stuff. So if we're going to talk about convenience, you know, the eVerse 8 does strike a nice balance between weight, features, and sound. It does. One thing you got to be careful with the eVerse 8, I used it on Saturday for 3 shows, and you got to be careful with like how you dial it in, because there's so many ways to dial it in. Like on the app, you have you have a general mode, like live mode, music mode. So I had it on music mode, and it was way too well, the mids weren't good. So I put it onto live mode, which is for live music, and it sounded much better. Well, obviously I'm playing the guitar and singing, but then once you've done that, you've then got presets for that channel, and then you've got the EQ and settings for that channel. There's a lot of ways to potentially dial that in badly, is what I'm trying to say. So you do want to experiment with it, maybe run a loop through it and experiment with it for a few hours before you do a show with it to get the absolute best from it. Do you have experience with the HA Stomp? I actually just bought one. I got a great deal on the Stomp XL, and I'll tell. Actually, I'm going to tell you the story of that, Nick, in a minute, because that's a long story. There's Mark, you see. I'll say it again. Mark, you own the eVerse 8, right? But you have to bear this in mind. When you ask someone what the best is, if they own it, they're going to tell you it's the best. I'm not being funny. I mean, even I have that bias, right? If I own and use something, like I own and use the TC product. So if you ask me what product to buy, I'm going to tell you to buy the TC product, not the Boss product, because I own that one. Okay, I've got another hat as well, which is I've been reviewing things. I've got the reviewer's hat on as well. But generally, if we own something, we are biased towards it. And you certainly see that. I never understood why people go into the Helix group and ask if they should buy a Helix or a Kemper. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. What do you think people are going to say? You know, if you go in the Martin group and you say, so if Mark will go in the Martin group and say, what's best, a Martin or a Gibson? Because they're going to say Martin, aren't they? And I'm going to say, neither of them. It depends on the application. I also hate sitting on the fence, though. It's not a good thing either. Oh, Graham says, my Epiphone J45 went back for a warranty repair. The pickup was behaving strangely. Took it in. Apparently, the saddle was lifted too high. Oh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I do believe with those guitars, the fit and finish isn't perfect, and you do want to get a nice setup done on the guitar. So I would probably do that. I would probably have, like if I bought that from Sweetwater, I'd probably have them switch that pickup out for an Anthem SL and do a full setup on the guitar. Personally. No, I'm just kidding, Mark. I'm not wound up at all. I'm just kidding. And but that did lead me into the whole thing about Facebook. It's true, you know. Like, why would you go on Facebook and ask in the Martin group if you should buy a Martin or a Taylor? It's funny. Did I hear you say Mason or Maton? Maton. Maton. It's Maton. It's Australian. Paul says, understood. Thanks for your thoughts. I'll probably keep the acoustic only since I got a great deal on it. I have an FG 830 with an Anthem. There you go. Perfect. 830 with Anthem is all you need to plug in, and then keep that. Yeah, keep. If I see, you see, that's my point. You didn't tell me that. That's what I always say to people when they ask me the questions. Like, I need the full background. The fact you already have an FG 830 with the Anthem, I would never get the one. So that answers the question for me. I would not get the red label with the pickup then. No way. I see. As you know, if you watch the channel, I'm doing that myself lately. I've got the Martin, the OM42, completely acoustic, and I've got the Maton plug-in. That's it. Or the Cole Clark. Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of stage. My point is, I've got a couple of stage guitars. I've got a couple of acoustic guitars, and keep them separate. So since you've got the 830 with the Anthem, I wouldn't get the Anthem or the pickup in the other guitar. You've got a guitar for stage, and then that guitar can be your fully acoustic guitar. That's nice. Yeah, hi-fi didn't really work out for me. See if you can wait a bit longer, Graham. There might be a new system out in the next 9 months. See if you can wait a bit longer. Let me answer this about the HX Stomp. I gotta tell you this story. It's a cool story, actually. So I'm gonna ignore your comments for a second and just answer this thing about the HX Stomp. I'm going to tell you the whole history. It might take me a while. So Nick says, do you have any experience with the HX Stomp? So this is what happened last week. Well, to give you a full backstory, I was one of the first to have like the Helix and all those things. Like my channel used to have loads of content on the Helix, and I was always basically looking for a way to make it sound better. I was never really happy with how it sounded, especially the amplifiers. Not so much the effects, but the amp sounds, right? So I tried all the other modelers, and I've kind of ended up with the Quad Cortex, which I really think sounds awesome. I love the Quad Cortex. But last week I went to see a band play locally. I've been sitting in with them. Like if I got a night off, I like to go out and socialize. So last Wednesday I wasn't playing, so I went and watched them play locally, and I got up and played with them. Now the guitarist had a really nice Strat. I'm not sure what it was, but nice SSS Strat, and it was like a clean sound, and it sounded fine to me sitting there. And then he said, "Would you like to play my guitar?" And I said, "Oh, sure, thank you." I would never let people play my guitar, so I really appreciate that. And I get that, and I'm like, "Well, there's no pedals, there's no amp, there's nothing." So he was actually plugging almost straight into the PA. He was going through one of those amp modeler pedals, like the Behringer ones, and that was it, and just reverb from the PA. And it just made me realize that while not being perfect, it's okay. Like maybe my standards are a bit too high sometimes. Like for a gig like that, where you're dropping in and playing, and it's a Wednesday night, and you're taking public transport, I realized I don't need to take the Quad Cortex, the power amp, and the cabs to a place like that. So I thought, okay, so what would I take based on the fact that I just played almost straight into the PA and got away with it? So I thought, well, you could take the Quad Cortex, but that's a $2,000 device, isn't it? At the end of the day, and it's a little bit fragile. So well, it seems to be. I don't like using the protectors and things on the screen. So I thought, well, I've got the Fly Rig. The Fly Rig by Tech 21 is awesome. It lives in the guitar bag as a backup. The reverb's good, the delay's good, the boost is good. Everything about it is pretty good. I got home and I plugged it in. I just don't like the distortion sounds very much at all. So then I thought, well, maybe something like the HX Stomp is great for that kind of gig, because it will fit in the bag. It could be a backup. It's not as small as the Fly Rig. I'll keep the Fly Rig because it's so small that pedal can just live in the bag at all times, and it will get me through a gig. I've used it at a gig before. It will get me through, but I just don't love the drive sounds. So I loaded up the Helix native software that I have on my computer, and I like the drive sounds. I thought, well, this is great. So I thought, why not just get an HX Stomp, which will fit in my guitar bag as well, and just have that. That would be a lot better than going in directly like I did last Wednesday, and it'll be really good. So then I thought, well, the HX Stomp XL has the extra buttons, which is a bit more useful when you're playing. And I found one at a great price, a really great price online, at almost half price. So that's why I decided to get it. And I thought, great, if I go and sit in again, I'll just take my take my Strat, one of my guitars, throw that pedal on the floor, plug into it, and just go. And that was a bit of a wake-up call for me. And the other thing I want to say is, while I didn't like the sound so much a few years ago, the funny thing with Line 6 is they keep updating that thing. We now have, since I really played it before, the last time I played it, we now have new amp models, brand new cabs, new reverbs, and they've upped the resolution of the algorithm as well, haven't they? They've done whatever it's called. I can't think what it's called right now. But point is, they basically since I played it before, they've got new amps, new cabs, new reverb. It's basically a new pedal. So I thought I'm going to try it again. So I'll see how that goes. I might make a video on that if it sounds good. But that's what I thought. I thought, while I'd much rather have a tube amp with me, I'd much rather have my quad cortex with me. Realistically, I wouldn't take it to drop in and play 3 songs like that. But I would take something like an HX Stomp XL, throw it on the ground and go. That could be cool. And that pedal has the pedal edit mode as well, so you can change the settings with your feet while you're playing. So yeah, it's funny. Sometimes it takes going out and playing in different situations to realize what might work well. So I think my problem is sometimes I sit at home and think about what I need gear-wise. Like, oh, I might need... This has certainly been a problem for me in the past. I might need so-and-so for so-and-so, and I never do so-and-so. So I think the best thing to do is to have what you need at home to inspire you to play at home, whether that's a plug-in, a tube amp, small tube amp, a load box. And then, rather than just going out and buying a load of stuff because you might need it for a certain occasion, wait till that occasion arises. So I'd like to go and sit in with that band again, maybe even cover for their guitar player occasionally, just for fun. So I need a rig. So what would I take? The fly rig doesn't quite cut it, but it's incredibly portable. The buttons are kind of, it's a small, flimsy pedal as well. The Quad Cortex would cut it, but that's a $2,000 pedal to take that to that bar and risk having it damaged. And the switches are closer together than the HX Stomp XL. So I just thought HX Stomp XL. HX Stomp XL, my guitar. Honestly, I'm probably not going to let anyone play my guitar unless I take a cheap guitar, which I'm probably not going to do either, because I also don't want to play a cheap guitar. So a lot of that's personal stuff, but yeah, I'd probably take my Fender Strat and the HX Stomp, which combined are still worth about $2,500. But there's a difference between that and taking a Sir and a Quad Cortex that's worth $6,000. Now, I will say this. I don't like when people talk like that. I don't necessarily believe that we should buy stuff and not use it. It just doesn't make any sense for me to take a Quad Cortex, a power amp, and a real speaker cab, and maybe some other stuff to play 3 songs. You've got to be realistic as well. You do. So I won't knock it though. If you want to take that stuff for 3 songs, then do it. If that's what you need. John Mayer played 1 song on electric at his gig I went to, and used a Dumble for 1 song. So do what you got to do. It's fine. But for me, I just know I feel very comfortable just taking that 1 pedal and my guitar on my back down the road and jamming a few songs with that pedal. I know I will, especially for the price that I got it for. Such a great price. So it's very hard to say no to that situation. But I do need to make some presets and try it. So I'll let you know how that goes next week. I've got an itchy. I turned the humidifier off, so I've got an itchy nose. Bag's hi-fi not working out. Have your thoughts on it changed since your last video talking about it? What did I say? My thoughts haven't changed at all. I said it all in my review. I was getting feedback. No, the feedback isn't enough to be a problem. You just need like 1 single notch filter. Or I shouldn't. For the guitar I had it in, I need 1 single. Hang on 1 second. For the guitar I had it, 2 guitars I had it in, I needed a notch filter. I do have a notch filter, but I also value the fact that my Australian guitars don't need that. And if I am running to someone's show to jam with them, I don't want to be worried about that stuff. So if you've already got a mixer or a pedal you run through, then you won't have a problem. But I also am so spoiled by having 2 or 3 pickups in the guitar that I just didn't want to deal with it. Like the hi-fi is 1 pickup. I'm used to 2 or 3. So that was never going to satisfy me. That was just never going to work out for me. I'm too used to other systems now. I'm waiting for the hi-fi with the mic as well, which we should get next year. But if you're used to like a single source, if you're used to an undersaddle pickup, if you're used to a K&K, if you're used to a single source pickup, then you're going to like the hi-fi. It's a good sounding system. It is. You just got to be real. Again, a bit like when I said, you got to be realistic what gear you take to a gig. You've also got to be realistic of your expectations. I also got pretty annoyed when the hi-fi came out because people were saying, again, on forums, which is why I'm trying not to go on the forums so much, things like, is it as good as the Anthem? Is it as good as the Anthem? Why do you think for a second that a single source pickup would be as good as the Anthem? It's not going to happen. It's a stupid thing to say. A single source pickup is not comparable to a dual source pickup. There's more information in the dual source pickup, right? So I got a few knocks on my first videos like, oh, you're just, you haven't said that you love it. And why would I say I love it? I'm used to the Anthem, which I recommend, still recommend as a dual source pickup. I play a Cole Clark, which is a 3-source pickup. I play a Maton, which is a huge undersaddle and a massive microphone in the sound hole. How is a single source contact pickup ever going to beat those? It's not. There's certain things you can't compare with. There's certain things you just can't compare, and I think it's silly to expect them to compare. So but I did say, and I still believe it, it's a very good sounding single source pickup. I prefer it to many others. I like the fact that the preamp is built in and everything like that. But it's not going to be a dual source like the Anthem. If you don't want the Anthem, if you don't want this thing under your saddle, then you can take the slightly less quality and sound to have the hi-fi. That's a choice you have to make. I would personally wait for the version of the hi-fi to come out that has the microphone. And hopefully, I've told them as well, I told LR Bags, if you do that, you should also add a notch filter. So I don't need to carry the notch pedal around with me. And I also told them if they don't do that, I probably won't even want to try it because I personally don't want to carry the notch filter around. I want it built into the system. If you're giving me an active pickup system, I want the notch to be in there as well. I don't see the point of then having to carry a pedal as well. If I need to carry a pedal with my pickup to correct a problem, I may as well just have a passive pickup like a K&K and then carry a pedal, right? It doesn't make sense to me. So that's my thoughts on that. But I'm talking from my situation, which doesn't really help you, Paul. And my situation right now is I have a Maton and a Cole Clark. I don't need to. Okay, let's take this. For me, this is the situation. I've got the OM42, a Maton, and a Cole Clark. I'm not going to put a basic not being mean, but no pickup will compare to those two guitars at the moment on the market. So I'm not going to put something lesser in that guitar and then have all the holes and the stuff in the guitar and add weight and add stuff under the saddle or stick things to it. I'm not going to bother, or even just the expense, right? I'm not going to bother. But if you don't have a Maton or Cole Clark, if you don't want those guitars, if you don't play out professionally like I do, right, then the hi-fi may work for you. So again, it brings me back to what I was saying earlier in the show. What is the application? What are the expectations here, right? I'm going to rename today's live stream, There Is No Best. I say it all the time, it's really important. You see what happened with that Yamaha guitar? He says, should I get the one with the pickup or without the pickup? I was very split on it. Once I heard that he had a guitar with an Anthem in it already, I knew. Okay, you've got that already. You're not playing out every night. Get the one without it. If you're playing it every night, then maybe you want the one with the pickup as a backup guitar. But if you're not playing it every night, then you don't want the one. So there's so many questions that I need answered. So just to sum that up, Paul, I believe the hi-fi is a success. I give it a thumbs up. But it still suffers from the same problems that all contact pickups suffer from, albeit less so. And it still doesn't sound as good as a dual source. as it cannot, as it's a single source. At the budget end of multi-effects, the Sonic 8 Matribox looks decent. The bigger version would be great for bar gigs. I thought about those too, the Chinese pedals. I don't say Chinese, I mean, they're all made in China, but the kind of Chinese brands that have the pedals that are two or $300. But here's the thing, right? If you get something like that for $300, why not get the Stomp? You can find a used Stomp for $300-400, right? So just get that. How much is that? How much are those these days? Well, actually, more than I thought, but still. So look. Oh, I didn't know the Stomp XL is only $50 more than the Stomp. Well, that's interesting. Of course, the Stomp is more compact. The only difference is the amount of foot switches. So if you want something compact, then get the Stomp. If you want the foot switches, get the XL, right? And who knows, maybe I'll regret getting the XL. I don't know yet. I'll find that out. But yeah, I mean, the thing is though, if we're talking about being price conscious here, $750 on the a lightly used one, you're gonna find for around $450 easy. I'd rather get that than get one of the ones off Amazon. I think not that they're not good, they are good, but you know, one thing I like about this is I like how rugged it is. You know, I like how rugged it is, sturdy. I love the screen on the Quad Cortex, but it's a big, delicate screen, isn't it? At the end of the day, whereas this is just a small screen, just as big as you need it. So, and again, like I said earlier, the size and weight is important for me. So this will fit in the guitar bag perfectly, which writes off a lot of the other units that are. I mean, I'd love the FM9 from Fractal, but that thing will never fit in my gig bag. So what's the point? It's not the application that I need. All I need is something sturdy that I can throw on the floor, tune the guitar, most importantly, and then just have like a clean crunch, lead, delay, and solo boost. So that's all. So that's what I'd have here. I'd have probably one preset, clean crunch delay. Clean crunch heavy along the top, delay on, clean boost on, tap tempo, and you hold it down and you get your tuner. Perfect. There we go. Good to go. But I'll let you know. I should probably make a video on that, shouldn't I? Let you know how it works out. Back to relicking. Seems like that falls onto the same category as limited edition. I think relicking is more linked to that whole thing about the woods. So Martin don't have many good-looking woods anymore, so they're printing on top of them to make them look better. I always feel like that's the case with relicking. Like, you can afford to use lesser woods and make a few mistakes on the build because you're going to relic it anyway. That's the cynical part of my brain when I think about relicking. But I've just gone off it. I've gone off it a bit. I just rather haven't. If I'm buying something new, I'd rather have something new, and then it will age with time, personally. And I'm not. If it's the feel of the neck, maybe that like not a non-glossy neck or sanding the neck, but you can always do that yourself anyway. And then the problem is when you spend more money for the relic, that doesn't always make sense to me either. I know, it's just personal. I had about a year where I was really into relics. I wanted all relics, and now I've gone off it. Well, that's a helpful question from Dr. McFarlane. He says, why? Why what? Why? 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 Tell me why, Doctor. Did you hear the new Beatles song? It's awesome. I really like it. We have mixed reactions, but I think it's cool. And I used the same software to extract the vocal from one of my songs, and it worked out really well. Can't believe it. This AI stuff is getting crazy. We also got a new version of Logic today, and the new MacBook Pros are being released tomorrow. And they are incredibly fast. So if you've been on the fence about getting an M3 now, then you should probably look into those. or get a used one. Even a used M1 now would be awesome. All right, I'm just going to wait for see what he was talking about here. It says why. Doctor, you should know, you do live streams every week. You should know that there's a delay here. So when I say something and then you write something, it's been like 2 minutes. So I have no idea what I was saying before. Or I do, but I was saying so many different things that I don't know what that correlates to. So please, if you ever write something, always write the full things so we know what you're saying. I'm going to wait for him to answer. So I'm waiting. Still waiting for him to reply. Any second now. Here it comes. No. But yeah, the Beatles song, awesome. I really enjoyed it. When I first heard it, I didn't love it. I'm not going to say it's like my favorite song of theirs, but it's definitely grown on me. And I think I miss those days when you hear a song multiple times and it grows on you, you know? Okay, Stomp Big Stomp. I thought I explained this. So it all comes down to weight. There's not many units that have the weight and form factor that will fit into the mono tick bag. That's the reason. Now the QC that I love will fit in it, but it's got the closer foot switches and it's got the it's worth more money basically. I was saying I got a Stomp XL for $450. So to me, it just makes a lot of sense. I personally feel happy taking the Stomp XL to a jam night, throwing it on the floor and playing, over taking my $2,000 Quad Cortex. And it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit smaller. So that's the reason. Now, you're probably going to say, why didn't you get certain other modelers? And that's the reason. Most of them won't fit in that case. That's the main reason. It's practicality. And you might say, why didn't you get the Fractal FM9? That's a great... Yes, I would much rather have a Fractal FM9. But again, it's $2,000 or so. And it's a lot heavier. And the Stomp also has the foot edit mode on the XL, where you hold down the button and you can, like, so if you need to turn the volume up of a patch or turn the treble up, you can do it with your feet, which again suits the application I'm looking to use it for. Now, will it sound any good? Well, that's the question. I'd like to take it to one of those jam nights and see how it actually sounds in practice. And if it sounds fine, then that's fine. And if it doesn't, well, maybe I should have just taken the Quad Cortex. Eddie says, let's hear it. Why by Annie Lennox. Yeah. So you tell me, Dr. McFarlane, then what would you have gotten? My original thought was I could get by with a regular Stomp, and that's incredibly small and makes for a great backup. So the HX Stomp with a 2-button foot switch is what I wanted to get. Then I thought, well, for $50 more, having the extra switches there could be useful, and it still fits in that guitar bag. So that's why I got it. Yes, of course. Now, would I have paid $750 for one? No. Because at $750, you're halfway to a Quad Cortex. I think at that point I'd have bought another Quad Cortex and put it in one of those. I would have put it in a skin and protectors all over it and just geeked it. But for $450, it's fine. Well, we'll see. I need to try it out. Like I said, I was just saying, since I had the Helix, there's new amps now. There's new cabs. There's new algorithms. There's even new reverbs and delays, I guess. So that's not, it's actually going to sound completely different to what I'm used to. So I'm kind of excited to try it out again. And I was saying, I played last week going basically straight into a PA system. So anything has to be better than that, right? Basically. Yes, I agree. The new Beatles song grew on me like the color of... Yes, they did grow on me. I still don't love them. Well, there we go. I don't think the Beatles song is their best single, but it's good. The OMJMs look better in person. I'll definitely say that. The Beatles song, when I first heard it, yeah, I didn't love it. I just thought this is not... it's more like an album, like an old album track. I didn't love it. I like it a lot more. And also when you watch all the making of and everything, and you realize like the last thing Lennon said to McCartney at the decoder before, the last thing he said to him was, "Think of me now and then, old friend. Think of me now and then." And that song is called Now and Then. Isn't that's nice? It's a nice conclusion to their legacy, I would say. Have you tried Tonex? I have tried it on the computer. It's good, but I feel that you know that comes into the same mindset of if I get a Tonex, I've then got to take a Tonex and the other pedals. And I'm already happy with the Quad Cortex, which is basically the same thing, right? So it doesn't make sense to me. Like, for me, it makes more sense to use my Quad Cortex at home and then have the HX Stomp XL as a backup. I think that makes more sense. It does sound good, and you can get the Tonex on your phone, on your computer. There's demo modes. The captures are very good. They are still captures, so it's only as good as the captures you get. I'm kind of tired of going down those rabbit holes of buying presets and captures. It never worked out for me. I spent a lot of money on presets and captures that I regret. So I do think if I was going to try any capture platform at the moment, it would definitely be that. But I think they should make a full-on modeler like the Quad Cortex. I still love the Quad Cortex. I still think the Quad Cortex models sound great. There are captures available. I love the size and the form factor. I love the editor. If I'm playing at home, I'll use the Quad Cortex either with headphones, in-ears, studio monitors, or the real amp, real powered cab. It sounds great. But if I'm going to, that's what I was just saying, if I'm going to run out the door and go and play 3 songs tonight, I would rather take a $450 HX Stomp XL. But I say that with a caveat, which is I haven't actually done that yet, and I need to make sure it does sound good, because I didn't like the Helix when it was first around. So I'm going to revisit it. All right. Great to hang out as always, but I'm still whacked from the weekend. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I still feel tired. I've got loads to do. I might even go to Guitar Center tonight and try to trade a few things in because I've just got so much stuff that I'm selling. So I might do that tonight. So I need to really go. Next week, I'll tell you about that Stomp next week. So I'm getting it tomorrow. And next week, I have a gig at 5. So I'll be on at the earlier time again of 1 p.m. EST next week. So please join me if you can. And then the 2 weeks after that, I'll be back to the regular time. So just next week, I'll be at that time. We have a few cool things coming out this month. There's some pedals coming out. I think the new Tone Dexter is due to come out. So I'll definitely be listening to those demos and reacting to those. Yes, you summed it up well. The song is good, but the story and the journey behind it is even better. Great comment to finish with, Doc. If you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. I really appreciate it. Thank you for helping me get up to my next milestone. In fact, that happened last Tuesday, I believe. Was it last Tuesday or Wednesday? I hit 16K. Yes. Now it's 1650. It's very cool. I'm just honestly not sure what people want me to make videos about because I need to go through the videos and see what the actual most watched videos are. Because I've done so many. I've done the acoustic pickups. I've done, I guess is my main thing. I've done electric stuff. The Fender videos got a lot of views, but that didn't really work out for me. Yeah, maybe we'll try. Maybe that'll be a good video. Revisit the Helix with that HX Stomp XL. It could be interesting. Revisiting it. Yeah. All right, we'll do that. And then let me know in the comments below if there's anything you want to bear in mind or cover in the video. And meet me back here again next week to talk more gear. Enjoy your week. Let me know. I'm just gonna go. I'm so tired. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay in touch. I'll see you soon. AaronShortMusic@gmail.com if you want to book a session, a gear help session. And take care. Have a great week. I'll see you next Monday. Toodaloo. Oh, Miss Lee Music. Good to see you. Are you still playing your Cole Clark? Yes, I can see it in the picture. Great to see you. Hope to see you again next week, Miss Lee. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.
I'm not